Welcome back to the house build. Today I'm up here while I wait on the rebar delivery. I'm going to do a few things. One, I'm going to cut and stake the wall line outside of the wall line that's already laid out, so that when we dig the footers, that line's going to get wrecked. So I'll have lines on the outside that I can restring and quickly find where my walls need to go. And that'll give me a chance to test out this rebar bender cutter gadget that I got on Amazon, because we're going to be bending and cutting a lot of rebar for this build. So right now I'm going to cut some 18-inch number 4 pieces, see how hard it is. Alright, this back part has a little jig for bending rebar, and this has a shear for cutting rebar. So when you lift this up, the shear lines up, and you just kind of push it to cut. That's that. Not real good for my back, but cuts pretty nice. Pretty clean. Cool. Glad he had that forklift, because that stuff's heavy. It's 100 sticks of number 4 and 100 sticks of number 5. Okay, so I just finished putting stakes here and here on the outside of my wall line, and then about 2.5–3 feet on each side, because when they dig the footers, all that's going to get wrecked. All those lines and stakes and everything are going to be gone. And I want to be able to restring from here down to there, and from here down to there, etc., to reestablish my outside wall line, and then we'll stack blocks on the footer using that line. Okay, since the rebar is here, I'm going to start cutting grade stakes for the footer. I have 148 feet of linear wall the whole way around. And when we dig the footers, they're going to be 2 feet wide by 1 foot deep, and we're going to do trench footers instead of building forms. Saves money, saves time. But when you do that, and we're doing that because we have a lot of clay in the soil, so it stays. Basically, when you dig the trench, that's your form. So we're going to dig that about 13 inches deep, and I'm going to cut grade stakes. Put them every 4 feet along the perimeter at exact height level. At exact level height. And I'm going to make sure I level those with the laser, space them every 4 feet, so that when we pour concrete, we level right with the top of those grade stakes in the trench. That's how we get our footer to be level. These are my OSHA compliant rebar caps. We don't want rebar sticking up where people can fall on it and stab themselves. Safety first. Well, I made short work of that. This thing works great. I was a little worried that I might have to use a length of pipe to get, put on the end of the handle to get some more leverage, but it goes through number 4 pretty easy. I'm sure it'll be a little more difficult to get through number 5, but this thing has no problem doing it so far. So if anybody's out there looking for a rebar cutter bender, this is a good one, and I'll leave a link to it for Amazon if you want to pick one up, if you're in the market for such a thing. Okay, all my grade stakes are cut. 37 pieces, 18 inches long. Now I'm going to cut number 5 rebar for the vertical dowels that stick out of the footer and tie the footing to the wall. And I need 72 of those because we're going to space those every 2 feet around the perimeter. So yeah, cutting number 5 is a lot more difficult. I put a post driver on here to give me a little bit more leverage, but when it snaps, it's jerking my back, and that's not good from trying to heal. So the boss is coming to give it a shot.
Right.
That's a precarious position.
You need a long pole.
You need a longer pipe.
Long pipe.
Okay. Alright, so I found an old piece of fence post, chain link fence pipe that I brought from our old house, because I don't ever throw things away for just such a reason. Let's see if this works as a cheater bar. That worked a little better. It didn't jerk on my back as bad, so okay, we might be in business now. We need 72 of these things. Jeez. That's a problem. Split the pipe right in the seam. Hillbilly engineering. It's the next day, about 9:30 a.m. and we're about to dig footers. Okay, we're trying to knock down some of the dirt underneath this power line because I need 12 feet of clearance below the power line, and so we're going to knock some of that dirt down and maybe push that pole over a little bit to tighten it up, and then we'll brace it. Okay, footers are dug, and I even set some of my grade stakes while we had the laser out. So I'm going to set more off of those in a little bit. But first I got to go around with the loppers and kind of cut out some of these roots, make sure we don't have roots in our footings. So I'm going to do that now. Can't remember if I explained what these grade stakes are about, so I'll do that. So trench footer, we're basically using the clay of the ground as the form for our footing instead of building forms on top of the ground. So we've gone down 1 foot, and then we put these stakes in, and they stick up 1 foot, and we leveled the tops. They're all level with each other. We leveled those with a laser, and I'm going to put more in. I'm probably going to put one every 4 feet. That way when we pour and we're smoothing the concrete, we level that concrete to the very top of that bar the whole way around, and that's how we make a level trench footer. So we ended up taking the track loader over to a couple of different neighbors' houses to knock out some clearing and grading jobs for a parking pad and a garage that's going to get built. And we try to do that whenever we have equipment up here. We try to coordinate with neighbors, trying to get as many projects done as we can while we have it up here, because it's kind of a challenge to get that stuff in. So it's probably going to be it for today's video. It's running a little long. I guess the next video we'll be doing rebar and hopefully pouring concrete, because it's going to rain tomorrow and probably a couple of days next week, and I don't want rain in my trenches. So I'm going to have to figure out some way to cover these trenches so they don't get rain in them. So yeah, that'll be the next video. Subscribe if you feel like it. Click the little bell to be notified so you don't miss it, and we'll see you then. Thanks for watching.